Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello, guys. Welcome to Global Happenings today. We have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads: Will this first unconstitutional move by new Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma haunt him in the future? See details. But before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube. All right, let's look at the news in detail.
All right, this analysis is actually drawn from a political pundit, from which we will not draw out our own analysis and give you to the side. But let's go straight into the news. But before we go into the analysis proper, it's no more news that Uzodinma, the newly elected governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, have elected some members, and they include, he has appointed some members. They include Secretary to the State Government (SSG), Chief of Staff (COS), Chief Press Secretary (CPS), Attorney General or Commissioner for Justice, and the governor named Chief Cosmos Iwu as the Secretary to the State Government, Barrister COC Akaolisa as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Chief Nnamdi Anyaechie as Chief of Staff, Government House, and Mr. Ogueke Nwachukwu as the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. Although he is lawfully permitted to unilaterally appoint SSG, COS, and CPS, he is expected to nominate any person that he desires to be appointed as Commissioner in Imo State Government to Imo State House of Assembly first for clearance by the House before appointment. An appointment of any person into office as Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General must meet this criteria. According to Section 121, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, any appointment to the office of Commissioner of the Government of a state shall, if the nomination of any person to such office is confirmed by the House of Assembly of that state, be made by the governor of that state, and in making any such appointment, the governor shall conform with the provisions of Section 14, Subsection 4 of this Constitution. While the Constitution is very clear, Governor Hope Uzodinma, within 24 hours in office, whether intentionally or otherwise, ignored this constitutional provision that mandates him to first refer his commissioner nominees to the House of Assembly and appointed Barrister COC Akaolisa as Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of Imo State by unilaterally naming Barrister Akaolisa as Commissioner and Attorney General. Governor Hope Uzodinma has not only disregarded Imo State House of Assembly, but has also usurped the powers of the state legislative arms, which is in breach of the Constitution. It is more disappointing that the Governor Uzodinma that rose to power through the pronouncement of a law court, the highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will begin his administration with illegal appointment in just 24 hours after his inauguration. It is also unfortunate that this illegality is coming from a state governor that had been a senior lawmaker for 8 years at the National Assembly, specifically the Senate, the highest legislative house in Nigeria. Well, we would have advised that the governor refrain from this illegal part of his by reversing the illegal appointment and refer Barrister Akaolisa to Imo State House of Assembly for clearance as a commissioner nominee. Governor Hope Uzodinma, but avoid the situation of taking this illegality further by proceeding to swear in Barrister Akaolisa without first getting the nominee cleared by the Imo State legislators as the executive governor of Imo State. Governor Hope Uzodinma is duty bound to always ensure that every of his actions and inactions are in accordance with the Constitution of Nigeria, which is supreme, and every other law that he is bound to.
All right, thank you very much. We are looking at the first step that has been taken by Governor Hope Uzodinma, and the first step he has taken in just 24 hours is appointment of people whom is going to be working very closely with the chief of staff, chief press secretary, and the likes. But, whatever you are doing, owing to the fact that he is not just an ordinary person, but one guided by constitution, you need to make a reference to it, just as it has been provided for in the constitution, as you've heard my colleague read out to you. It is quite unconstitutional for you to wake up and appoint. What you do is you nominate based on the provision of the constitution. You nominate the person, send the person for clearance. It is now the House of Assembly that will now, pass the person back to you, and then you go further with it. But you can see, but before we go further with analysis, we'd like to just look at what Nigerians are saying about the appointment of the new governor of Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodinma. One says here, what do you expect of him? You're talking about illegality. Is it not the same illegality that brought him to power? This one says he's doing what he learned from his Oga on top. Usurpation of power of other arms. Another one here says he's supposed to use at least 2 months to constitute his cabinet, and that time is enough for the State House of Assembly to equate the portfolio of the nominees to his or her credibility before announcing it publicly. But it's unfortunate that he was manipulated to become governor, not by merit. Another one here says, see, the will of God certainly must come true. We use that to evaluate the end. Let him follow the due process. And the last one says, Hope, I think you are listening. You started the dance on the wrong foot. Just rehearsal for animal dancing competition. Antelope has already broken his leg. What do we expect during competition proper? Now, there are a lot of other persons who have spoken about it, but we just want to look at this seriously. And though we've not heard that the person has been sworn in, but such an appointment, as we normally know, it must be referred. Now, why this is of utmost importance is the fact that he is about to face a State House of Assembly that does not have any of his party members. Not even one party member is there. About 15 of them are in PDP. 13. Or 13 of them also. They are in PDP. The rest is from ABGA, and then I think 5 are from this thing, AA. Now, looking at this scenario, at this point, at this juncture, it is expected of him to be overly careful. Don't forget that in Imo State, there is some likelihood between, PDP and ABGA. They are like working together, but though not really formally, but, there's some working together. And people were expecting a lot from this. When he did an appointment, already there had been most of the members of the State House of Assembly in Imo State have been interviewed, and they said, hey, we've got no problem working with him. It's going to be a nice one between us and the governor. But let the truth be told, most of these guys are working with the mentality and with the objective of their party at mind. So whatever they are doing must first of all be for the benefit of their party. Nigerian politicians are not mature enough to realize that the people should be topmost in their list of priority. What they consider most important is their party before the people come second. So right now, they will just be keeping quiet. This is the scenario. They will just be keeping quiet, and he will begin to, get unconstitutionally, be doing things illegally, and they will just be piling it for him. Yes. Be piling it for him. That's why now that he has carried out this appointment, has already announced the appointment, because that's the part of it which has made a lot of people if he had nominated, it would have been okay. But now that he has already announced the appointment, it is important for him to retrace back his steps and go the right way, because whatever he's doing, they will plan him and they kick him out. Don't forget that no matter how powerful the president is, he doesn't have the power to stop these guys from taking any step. The worst of all is maybe you go and scatter them. But hey, if they make up their mind and said, we are going to downsize this governor, it's like our Senate making up their mind, say, we are going to flush out all of these things, the president, they have the power. And that is why you realize that during elections, they are pushy to ensure that at least senators and House of Rep members, most of them must come from my party. And being that they are not from his party, now that he has started the way he's going, those guys have the power to slow pace him. They have the power to condition him such that he will be so unuseful. So right now, my own advice, candid advice is, Uzodinma, please take it very easy. I know right now, most people will be pushing you and said, hey, it's time to revenge. It's time to do this. It's time to do this. We need to beat up these people. We need to knock this one. Make we knock this one and all. Calm down. Make sure that everything you are doing, you are being advised. You are not just an ordinary governor. You are a governor that at least you have reasonable experience in the area of lawmaking, so you know the right things to do. So just make sure that you are properly guided by the law so that you don't make mistakes, that in future, these things will be listed out and these guys will kick you out of that position by impeachment. A word is enough for the wise. That's just what we have to say right now. My colleague has something to say here.
But it's very funny, really, that he will start by ignoring them. To me, what I feel is that he wants to ignore them, being that, like you have rightly, brought to our notice that none of his party member is involved. So to me, I feel giving them that nominees list, they will begin to meander, begin to waste time and all that, probably start frustrating him from the beginning. He cannot claim ignorance. This is a man that have 8 years of being even in the highest chamber, as in Senate itself, the red chamber itself. So he cannot say he does not know that some certain nominees, like the commissioner, that should pass through the House of Assembly. So he cannot claim he doesn't know about that. But totally starting on the wrong foot is so bad. If they want to even nail him totally, is to keep him quiet, let him keep doing regular unconstitutional mistakes, so that when it is time, they will not pass vote of no confidence upon him. He should be very careful. I guess that power, that dream of finally being the governor, he's trying to push his power, and let him not push it too far, because everybody's watching him in 3D. The people, Imo State people, Imolites, are actually also watching him in 3D. Don't forget that if you check through by the number of votes you see in the polling unit, you find out that Imolite did not totally go out for him, which means he's not even their first choice. If you go by the result, you even notice that Imosu is even the second choice. That's even if it's not even rigged, though, because some of these results have sometimes. Then now when you go through all this, you don't have the people's backing totally. You don't even have House of Assembly's backing totally, State House of Assembly backing totally, because your party members are not there. And now, the only backing you probably have is the apex court, which is supreme, and they're out of the system. Now they're out of the way. Now it's between you, the Imolite, and the Senate. I expected him, to romance the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly. I would expect him to draw them near, play the politics of, look, guys, we are one. Look, we forget anything, party or whatever. This is Imo. Let's build Imo together, and begin to show them, accord them some respect, But to my greatest surprise, is starting on this note. It's a bad one if you ask me, but I feel also that they will not quickly correct him. He cannot say he doesn't know that. That I don't think is possible. I would have expected him to calm his nerves, find out, even if he doesn't know, which I doubt he doesn't really, because for 8 years, he has been doing this for 8 years, for crying out loud, even on the highest level. So he should know what is obtainable and what is not. Well, I just hope that this particular decision he has made, the very first appointment he has made, not consulting the House of Senate, House of State House of Assembly, even if his party members are not there, it's a wrong one, really.
All right. Thank you very much. That's where we want to leave it. Do you think that these call it legality or unconstitutional appointment will haunt Governor Hope Uzodinma in the nearest future? Do you think that on this premise that the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly, will make decisions which will possibly affect him and affect his mandate as a governor? That's where we're going to leave it. Go to our comment.